Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's very short video. So in today's video, I want to highlight why I own Google and what is one of the key, there's many reasons why I own Google, but one of the key reasons why I own Google and which makes me stick with the stock for a very, very long term, even though it doesn't have the growth that I typically like. I typically seek 30% more growth, but I own Google mostly for one reason is I want to be exposed to Elon Musk. And did you know that Google actually owns 6.99% of SpaceX right now? Did you know that? That's very, very, very interesting. I've known that for a long time, and I've known it to be 5% from a round that they did with Fidelity in 2016. But they've increased their exposure to SpaceX, and they now own 6.99% of SpaceX. And again, this is something that whenever I hear people talk about Google, I don't hear this being discussed. But I think this is very important because SpaceX will become public one day. SpaceX will IPO one day. And even if it's 10, 15 years from now, when it does, that's going to be a very, very valuable ownership, provided that they don't sell it. I hope they won't. And I'll be monitoring that. But it's going to be a very big deal. And SpaceX and space in general is one example of like a very, 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 very long-term investment, which I don't think is going to have its S curve in this decade. I think it's going to be in the next decade maybe, or maybe even 2 decades. This is so far out. This is so far out, but this fits very well with Google. Google has a lot of Google Ventures projects that are very, very far out. It's a company that thinks very, very long term. And it's a way to gain exposure to these far out matters in a very safe way because Google has a very, very stable business, right? Android, half of the smartphone in the world, YouTube, Google Search, Google Ads, these are very stable businesses. So really the market movements are going to be based on the stable businesses, but you still get exposure to SpaceX, 6.99%. So this may be a better way to get exposure to space if that's a topic of investment that you like than say, for example, owning Virgin Galactic, which has been a complete roller coaster, right? Google is not as much of a roller coaster. Most of the market ignores that. What is the value of SpaceX? Well, right now in the private market, it seems to be 125 billion. But what is the very long-term value of SpaceX? Like, what would SpaceX be worth in 20 years? Well, we don't know, but I would argue it's going to be pretty high. I would argue it would be very, very high, especially if the aura associated with the founder, if all of the 0 to 1 moves that are in SpaceX fully realize, you could argue that SpaceX is going to be a very, very big company. And I like the idea of having exposure to that. And we may, knowing full well that we may have to wait until even, I mean, this sounds crazy to say, but even 2050, we may have to wait for the value of SpaceX to be fully realized, which is why I think owning some SpaceX in a safe wrapper like Alphabet, Google Alphabet, is a very, very good way to go because you get a teeny tiny nascent exposure to this industry, and it's essentially for free right now because you own Google. And the market clearly doesn't reflect any value on SpaceX. And SpaceX is a fascinating company. So many YouTubers cover it along with Tesla, and I love the company of SpaceX. I think it's very interesting, especially when they start talking about continent to continent travel, like the idea that you could fly from New York City to Shanghai in like 45 minutes with a rocket. I find absolutely amazing. So, anyways, that's one of the reasons why I own Google. One of the key reasons why I own Google is I want that 7%, close to 7% exposure, close to 7% exposure to SpaceX. So again, none of this has been investment advice. This is just entertainment. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate if you like my video and you subscribe to my channel. Thank you for that if you can, much appreciated. And follow me on Twitter if you can as well at BeatTheDenominator. Thank you so much and have a great day.